The Dunning-Kruger effect. When you go from zero investment knowledge to reading a few personal finance books, you feel like you're on top of the world. I personally experienced this on my journey to financial independence. I thought that I was on top of the world because I read a few books, I read a few articles, and I knew a lot more than other people. And I experienced the Dunning-Kruger effect without even knowing that this was a common phenomenon. Hello everyone, my name is Zach, and welcome to On Cashflow, where I help you become a master of your own cash flow. Now let's get started. Don't just do something, stand there. With investing, too much action usually leads to inferior returns, unfortunately. Especially when you're talking about us normal, everyday people. Because unfortunately, when we do take action with our investments, we usually take the kind of actions that are usually going to be detrimental to our future wealth. We might take actions such as panic selling. Through our reactions, we might create unnecessary taxes. Maybe we have some capital gains and it was unnecessary that we're going to be paying those taxes because we took action, buying and selling investments. And then another one is unnecessarily reallocating our investments, choosing one kind of asset allocation and then changing it and then changing it and changing it again. Really not having one long-term strategy. So we don't even know if our asset allocation is going to be good because we keep changing it. All too often, unfortunately, when we do take action with our investments, it's usually to our detriment. But another reason why I'm making this video is that I actually saw another video on YouTube that was similar to this. So I thought I would share some of my biggest takeaways on investing. I'll go ahead and let you know which video inspired me to make this video at the end of the video. But getting on to another big lesson that I learned on my investing journey is to not let perfect be the enemy of good. Yeah, believe it or not, having too much knowledge and being too involved in investing can actually hinder your progress because it could actually restrict positive action, like a positive action that is very simple, such as letting your investments go every single month, not bothering them, continually investing in a broad-based stock market index fund, for example. So that would be a positive action. But in our pursuit of more knowledge and more skill when it comes to investing, we might actually try to seek perfection and we might be actually interrupting the good things that we are doing. We might be tracking the market and thinking, hey, if I invest on this day or when I invest when the market is down, then maybe in the long run, it'll increase my overall returns. Another one just has to do with our overall portfolio. We might be seeking the perfect asset allocation, the perfect tax minimization strategy, the perfect mix of accounts on where we should keep our investments. All of these things that we are constantly looking to, tweak and improve in our own portfolio. But by doing so, we might actually be hindering our future wealth. Because in all honesty, the perfect asset allocation, the perfect account mix, the perfect tax minimization strategy does not exist. It doesn't exist because there is no one perfect strategy. It's very highly dependent on not only your financial goals, but your personality as well. All these kinds of mathematical and non-mathematical factors that go into your life that are going to make your strategy somewhat unique, but also there is never going to be a perfect solution. And if you are looking for that perfect solution to all these things, I don't think you're ever going to find it. And you might actually be harming your future wealth building by looking for these things and by continually trying to tweak and alter your portfolio. Here's an example that actually happened in my own life. So for the longest time, I have been a strong advocate of index funds. And I still do that today, and I still advocate for that. Well, there was a time, especially early on, when I was seeking, how can I actually beat this? Like, I know it's a pretty good portfolio, but how can I actually beat this? And so I spent lots of time reading lots of articles and lots of books, listening to lots of podcasts and such, trying to figure out how I can make a portfolio that was better than the standard 2 to 3 fund index fund portfolio. And to be honest, I never really found one. All these kinds of different ideas that I did find, there was not strong enough evidence to suggest that they are going to produce the same results that they did in the past. It's really easy to look back into the past and say, well, over this 10-year time period, this did outperform this index fund portfolio. But if you look at a different 10-year time period, maybe it didn't. So it's really impossible to say because no one knows what the future is going to hold, especially when it comes to something that is out of our control, like the stock market. I've got plenty of more big lessons that I've learned throughout my investing career, but real quick, I just want to say that I put a lot of research, effort, and heart into these videos, and it would really help me out if you just took a quick second and hit the like button on this video. Thank you so much. All right, getting on to the next biggest lesson learned, and that is that analysis paralysis is a real thing. Have you ever heard of that? It's basically where you have so many options. So you are analyzing so many different things that you actually get stuck, and you get stuck in this paralysis state where you don't make a decision at all. And obviously that can be to your detriment if you're not actually taking action, especially positive action. If it's just good action, if you're not taking any action at all, that can be bad. And I think that analysis paralysis really comes with actually increased knowledge, because the more that you are seeking this knowledge, once you go past a certain point, the more options you have, the more strategies you see and you learn about, the harder it is to actually stick to one plan. Especially when it comes to deviating from your current plan or the current system that you have in place for your investments or for your personal finances. If you find a strategy that is suggested that is better than what you're doing, it can be very hard and bring you to this analysis paralysis on deciding whether you should try it out or whether you should wait it out or whether you should just keep doing what you're doing or look for another different strategy. And here's a small example from my own life when it comes to my investment portfolio. It took me, I think, about 2 years to actually be invested in international stocks. So I started out with investing in the US index fund. So I was 100% US stocks. And it took me 2 years of research to finally take a little bit of action and diversify into international stocks. And it was so hard because I had all this kind of analysis going on. Well, international stocks have not performed as well as US in the past X amount of decades. Are they going to perform well in the future? And so many other things that went into this decision. And ultimately, I ended up investing about 20% of my total portfolio into international stocks. Is it the perfect strategy? Maybe not. Is it going to outperform a 100% US stock market index fund portfolio over the next 20 years? I have no idea. But the concept of having diversification away from the US market was something that really stuck with me and my values when it comes to investing. So ultimately, I actually did decide to get out of that paralysis stage and take action. I have another good lesson learned for you, but before I get onto that, really quick, this leads me to the big question here. I want to know from you in the comments below, what is something that you have learned that is very important on your investing journey? Like during your investing journey, what's something that you have learned that you want to share with others? Please leave that in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you have to say. And now, another big lesson that I learned during my investment journey is that you are an anomaly. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you are watching this video right now. You are probably involved in personal finances. You're probably interested in investing, in building wealth. That makes you an anomaly. You are different from a lot of people. Not many people are this involved in investing or interested at all. Pretty much no one invests seriously, and barely anyone knows what they are doing. And that makes this a very difficult topic, to talk about with everyday people. That's why we, people who are actually interested in investing, find ourselves on, different forums, on blogs, on YouTube videos, and things like that. Because these are places where we all share some common interest, right? And in this case, it happens to be investing. And unfortunately, there are many people out there, the majority of people, who are uninterested in learning about this kind of stuff. They would rather put it off, or they would rather leave it to the experts. The reason why this is a big lesson learned is because it is hard to realize at first that not everyone is interested in this stuff. Not everyone understands, the ins and outs of investing, even like the basics. One way this has affected me in my own life is that most people, they have no idea what I would even be talking about when I'm talking about, building wealth through investing, especially in the stock market. Most people only know what they hear on the financial headlines, right? They only know maybe the market is up today, the market is down today, or some kind of event affected the market in this way. And so you need to realize this, like when you're trying to have a conversation with someone, as I have tried to on, many different occasions, that the conversation about investing is probably just going to end there. It's honestly not really worth pursuing if someone is not as interested, and you can never force someone to be as interested as you are. And that's okay. That's how the world works. And that's why I'm glad that we have platforms such as YouTube where I can post a video and you, as someone who's interested in that kind of video, can comment and we can talk about different kinds of things when it comes to investing, because we might not actually get that in the real world. We might not actually get that interaction or people who are also interested in the same things that we are interested in. Those are the biggest lessons that I've learned over a decade of investing, about a third of my life. And the reason I made this video was I was actually inspired to make this video by another YouTuber. They made a video similar to this, some lessons that they learned in their own life. And their channel is Investing Simplified by Professor G. So if you're interested in watching his video, I'm gonna put a link to his video in the description below, and it'll pop up on the screen right after I get off the screen. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Zach from OnCashflow.com, and I hope to see you next time.